Hey, everybody. So glad you're joining us at the after sermon where we get a chance to sit down with this week's communicator and talk about maybe a few things that didn't make it in the message. Either way, we are so excited because we get to sit with Michele Cushatt. Did I say that closer? I know I was listening to a whole interaction where I still can't get that last name. It's very French.
I think of it in terms of a range of faithful options. Like there's a range.
I like that.
As long as you land in the range, I think it counts.
Gosh, that sounds like faith. A range of faithful
range.
options.
Plus, I married into it, so
Yeah.
I don't even know if I say it
Okay,
right.
well, that's fair. Well, this message was amazing. We're in a series on prayer, and we are now in the fourth part of the message, prayers of thanksgiving. And you said something in your message I would love for you to just explore.
Okay.
And I think you
Here we
have
go.
personal experience with this. The concept of being thankful in versus being thankful for, right? So talk a little bit about that.
Well, this is a really critical and important distinction. For a long time, I thought we had to be thankful for all circumstances. So there's this idea that anything that comes to us goes through God first. So we need to be thankful for everything that happens, right? If he's sovereign, right? This gets into all kinds of theodicy and crazy hard stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And so there was a sense of we need to be thankful for. And I was like, wait a second. No, that's not necessarily true. I don't need to be thankful for the horrors of sex trafficking around the world. I don't have to be thankful for child abuse. I don't have to be thankful for, but that also means I don't have to be thankful for the horrors of cancer and how it ravaged my body from head to toe, inside and out. I mean, that is not what God's asking me to do. But what he is asking me to do is to be thankful in those circumstances out of an awareness of a reality that even trumps this reality. The fact that there is a kingdom of God that has come, and is coming. Right? And that reality should change our perspective on everything, because that means that although cancer is a huge piece of my story, and even though I will live with permanent disabilities as a result of it, it is not my ultimate reality, because there will come a day that this body will be made completely new and everything that's broken will be solved and fixed and renewed. And I won't have a lisp anymore, and I will be able to taste again. Like, it is a bodily resurrection that we will experience, and that reality actually trumps the current one. That means whatever I'm dealing with now, as awful as it is temporary.
That's really key. I think Dallas said it this way. We oftentimes believe ourselves, we live this way, that we are temporary spiritual beings having a permanent physical experience, when in fact we are the opposite.
Yes.
We are permanent spiritual beings having a temporary physical experience. And yet it's still hard to live out of that.
Oh, it is so hard to live out of that. However, it's really, it's a critical growth edge, I think, for all of us, because if we want to be people who are not living at the other end of the leash of a crazy life that goes, insane all the time. If we want to be people who can live steady and secure and stable and confident and strong, it requires us to be tethered to something that is bigger than just us and our existence.
Wow. That's huge.
That's huge. I said it like this in one of the books I wrote, that a boat anchored to itself is not anchored at all.
That's a great metaphor. Oh, I've done some boating.
I know. Like, if I just anchor myself to myself, I am then at the whims of whatever happens today, right? And I've done that. Like, and this is what our culture tells us, is that you need to look within yourself for your peace, and all of this kind of we are self-sufficient and everything we need to survive and thrive is just with us. And I'm sorry, I've tried that bag of tricks and it doesn't work. So a boat anchored to itself is not anchored at all. We need to be anchored to something that is bigger and stronger or more steadfast, more firm than we are, and only then will we be secure.
What have you learned about the anchoring process? How do you do that? How do you do
Well, for me personally,
Yeah.
that process involved doing it the wrong way a lot of times until I got tired of the really terrible results.
Yeah.
Like I have anchored, I think all of us as humans, we will anchor ourselves to whatever is the closest and easiest and most
Whatever
convenient.
we can,
Whatever we can
grab.
reach.
Yeah.
And God keeps saying, you can almost hear Jesus as I'm talking, I can always hear him say, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden. Come to me, all of you who are worn out from trying to anchor yourself to the wrong things. Attach yourself to me, learn from me, and you will find rest for your souls.
Well, and that's not, an anchor in and of itself is not permanent either, right? Like you almost have to be re-anchoring. You have to
All
be
the time.
all the time, right? There's a
Because
process.
during circumstances, I mean, we can take that metaphor. All metaphors break down at some point, but we can take that metaphor. When a storm happens, it loosens and it gets in. So we have to once again, wait. What do I know is true? And that's where spiritual formation comes in, right? The formative practices of going, wait a second. I need to preach to myself again what I know is true. What do I know is true? And that's why in the message I talked about Psalm 27. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I don't feel that in the moment, but I keep saying that over and over again, knowing that the more I say it, the more that I believe it, the more that it actually becomes true. I will see the goodness of the Lord. And I believe it. I will see the goodness of the Lord.
Well, and you said something in the message I think is important. That is not just delusional thinking. There is a process by which we remember that affirms the truth that we will see his goodness. Talk a little bit about the importance of looking back at what God has done in your life as part of this process.
And I said this in the message, that our problem isn't a lack of experience with God's faithfulness. It's our inability to remember God's faithfulness. Yeah. I can speak from my own experience. I mean, I can forget God's faithfulness in the morning by the time I go to bed at night.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
for sure.
I mean, it's amazing how circumstances can make me utterly blind to what happened earlier. Yeah. Like, we forget God's previous faithfulness the moment we need something new. Yeah. Right? We have such short attention spans. And so the practice of remembering actually goes all the way back to Old Testament. I can't remember. I think it's in Exodus, it's in Deuteronomy, but God says, when you get to the land that I have given you, the promised land, when you get there and you plant your crops and you harvest all this fruit and all this abundance, do not forget where you came from. Right? So from the very beginning, God knew that our biggest problem is our forgetfulness at times. Yeah. Right?
That's so, well, and I mean, biologically speaking, we're wired to remember things that harm us disproportionately more than the good things. So I think there's a part that you go, well, yeah, of course, because if it's bad, that's why one bad email
will make you forget the hundreds of good
Doesn't
emails.
matter. If someone says, doesn't matter that someone said, you have a really nice shirt on. If the next person says, boy, where'd you get that shirt?
That's a really lousy shirt.
Maybe I should change. I mean, we're wired this way. So much so, because I know how I'm wired. I literally have a tattoo here that says, remember and forget. And I see it in the morning because I think I forget all the things I should remember, and I remember all the stuff I ought to forget, right? Yes. So I think that is the human condition, and I think it's such an important
It's
part.
a practice.
It's a practice.
It's a practice. And really, that's why we went through remembering, celebrating, anticipating. I mean, we really do have to practice Thanksgiving. And the practice of remembering is such a key point, a key anchor point for the other two. Like, we have to be able to go back and remember. And when we can't remember, we need to find whatever tools or resources we can to help jog our memory. Things like photos and calendars and talking. One thing I think we've missed in our modern context is the gift of storytelling within a family context. Like telling stories of God's faithfulness.
I want to talk more about that, but guess what? We're out of time.
We're out of time.
But you did, I mean, these tools really matter.
Yeah,
even things like the prayer guide and the prayer practices. This is why we're doing these things. So, I'm so grateful for you. Thanks for teaching us.
Thank you.
Great word. But we're out of time. If you want to hear the whole message, just go to your podcast platform of choice, and I promise you it will be there. You can hear the entirety of the message. Thanks again. Grace and peace. We'll see you next time.